Asamra, Beodi, 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 Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Bechaya, 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 Asamra, Asamra, Beodi, Beodi, with my life and your love, I was born to adorn with my best and your breath. I will sing, I will sing. Ya-la-la, 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 ya-la-la. Ah-ha-la-la, ah-ha-la-la. Bechayai, 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 Asamra, Asamra, Beodi, Beodi.
Key.
Too high?
Yeah. It's too high. Laura's key.
Laura's key?
Or Laura Berman saying, that's the right.
Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Bechayai, Bechayai, Asamra, Asamra, Beodi, Beodi, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Bechayai, Bechayai, Asamra, Asamra, Beodi, Beodi, with my life and your love, I was born to adorn with my best and your breath. I will sing, I will sing, I will sing, I will sing. Hi Luke, welcome. Good to see you. Sarah, Shabbat Shalom. Excellent. All right. Let's see what we got.
Do you need candles?
I think we're okay. I'll invite. Greetings, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining us. Does anybody there at home have a set of Shabbat candles handy and want to do our representative? We lit some out in the sukkah and they kind of melted all over the candlestick. So it would save us. We can do a symbolic blessings. All right. Well, good to see everybody. We're going to do a nice little Sukkkot Shabbat service. And, at the risk of being serviced out after the holiday extravaganza over the last 15 days. So we'll keep it simple. And we'll start with, so if you have a prayer book, we'll start, there's a cart there. There's some nice readings in here for the holidays. So I'm on page 546. So we bring in Sukkot and Shabbat in 547. Ufros aleinu Sukkat, Sukkat, Shelomecha, Ufros aleinu Sukkkot Shelomecha. Sukkot. Now the days grow shorter, and the warmth of summer gives way to the coolness of autumn. Soon the unfertile winter, with its fallow ground, will be with us. We are grateful for the bounty of the fall harvest, not only for its tastes and sights and smells, but also for its protection against winter's cold hunger. We celebrate the harvest fruits for more than the pleasure they give. They recall the redemptive power in nature, the goodness of the earth, the divine presence that unifies our world and sustains our lives. Page 546. These days of the harvest festival we celebrate in Sukkot, simple booths remind us of our dependence upon nature, on each other, and on the divine direction that speaks not only to us, but to every creature that inhabits our world. These fragile booths remind us of our need to care for our world in order to receive in bounty. In the turning of the year, we turn to each other, humbled by the glory of the fruits and rejoicing in their fullness. I have a nice, robust etrog fruit here. It's a symbol of the bounty of the earth. As we partake of fruits that are the product of the hands besides our own and the product of the land of Israel, we sense that the outstretched hands of those who need our help are there as well. May our rejoicing in these fruits lead us to extend our helping hands. Spread over us your sukkah, your shelter of peace. Ufros aleinu sukkah, sukkah, shelomecha. Nice. We'll read responsibly on page 548. 548, this passage from Kohelet, the book of Ecclesiastes, the scroll of the 5 scrolls that's assigned for this sacred week. For everything there is a time, for every desire and opportunity beneath the heavens. And then we'll do responsibly a time for giving birth, a time to plant, a time to slay, a time to break, a time to weep, a time to mourn, a time for casting stones, a time for embracing, a time to seek, a time to keep, a time to tear, a time for keeping silent, a time to love, a time for war, time for peace. May this be a time for peace for us. Page 557. So this song, this Psalm of Ascent, is one of the psalms that was sung presumably as the pilgrims made their way up the steps to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. So the going up song, the Shir Hamalah, the Song of Ascents, was literally that. Literally, as the people came up the steps, climbing those huge steps, if you've seen them or been there, going up to the east side of the Temple Mount, and that the priests would be lined up on both sides of the steps, chanting these psalms. So this is let's try this. This is a really Shir Hamalot Bishuv Adonai Et Shivat Zion Hayinu Kecholmi Azimale Sechopinu Shonei Ri As Yomru Bagoyi Iladon Asoti Mele Igdiladonai Asoti Manu Hayinu Simechi Shuva Adonai et Shiviteinu Kafiki Banegev Azorim Bedima Berin Yikzoru Haloch Yelech Uvachono Semeshech Hazara Voya Voverina No Se Alumota. Return all of our captive people, all captive people, like the rivers and the Negev sands. May those who sow while shedding tears bring in their harvest with a joyous song. Now we see them weeping as they walk, the seed bag carried in their hands. Now we hear them come with joyous song, their harvest bundles borne aloft. And then at the bottom of page 557 is this poem by Sheila Peltz-Weinberg. Weeping is transformed into laughter, sadness into joy when we turn to God. The promise is in the turning up of the wrinkles around our lips and eyes, turning around to try again, turning from closed to open, false to true, fearful to fearless, turning toward a wise innocence. So we're gathering, and we're sort of virtually gathering in our Sukkot. So didn't know if we would be able to do the service inside it. So you guys can see it hopefully behind me, the synagogue Sukkot. And for Sukkot, each night of Sukkot, we're encouraged to invite guests into the Sukkot. To welcome not only, especially, right, human guests, although that becomes more complicated in a COVID world, but also to, and this long-standing tradition called Ushpizin in Yiddish, of inviting our ancestors or archetypes. So on the first night of Sukkot, we are invited to invite our Abraham and Sarah, these ancestors who exemplified Hachnasat Orchim, the value of welcoming guests, of inviting wayfarers into our tent, as it were, as they did. So as we prepare to gather as a community, as we call together our community is with the Baruch Hu on page 563. So I want you to think about who you would like to invite into this. Who would you like to call into this congregation, into this kehillah, this gathering, into this virtual sukkah? So maybe I'll let you think on that, and we'll do the prayer, and then a little later I'll ask you to share who you invited and why. Okay? So it could be somebody living or long since passed. And we'll rise for the Baruch Hu, because you guys can't quite see, but there's half a dozen people on the Zoom. And so we'll quite kind of make our minyan between the two spaces. Let's see. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamivorach. Baruch Adonai Amvorach Le'olam Vaed. Baruch Adonai Amvorach Le'olam Vaed. be seated. And I'll do the interpretive versions of the blessings leading up to the Shema, page 566. Praised are you, the one who is in all time and space, who has ordained the rhythm of life. The day with its light calls us to activity and exertion. But when the night wanes, when the day wanes, and when with the setting sun colors fade, we cease from our labors and welcome the tranquility of night. The subdued light of the moon, and tonight the full moon of Sukkkot, and the stars, and the darkness and the stillness about us invite rest and repose. Trustfully we yield to the quiet of sleep. For we know that while we are unaware of what goes on within and around us while we sleep, our powers of body and mind are renewed. Therefore, at this evening hour, we seek composure of spirit. We give thanks for the day and its tasks, and for the night and its rest, and the Sabbath and its rest. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv haravim. And then on page 567, a blessing reminding us that we are loved. I'm just going to read the last stanza. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled, ours are the arms, the fingers, and the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema is on page 570 and 571. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha u'chol nafshecha u'chol me'odecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha edibat bam Veshivtecha b'beitecha uvlechtecha b'aderet uvshochtecha ukumecha ukshartam lehot adecha vehayu letotapot beinenecha uchavtam zuzot beitecha ubisharem. So this 7-day holiday of Sukkot follows on the heels of these 10 days of awe, the Yamim Noraim. So many words we've been offering over the last 15 days, words of prayer and part of the joy that we seek to embody and receive on Sukkot. This is Zman Simchatenu, this time of joy, can be found through the gateway of awe, wonder, and amazement, which often leaves us speechless. And as an alternative to the Michal Mocha tonight, I'll read Rami Shapiro's poem on the page 584 at the bottom. When our ancestors beheld these truths, truth of the power of justice and freedom, among all the gods we can name, who can compare to the one beyond naming? Among all the qualities we can label, number, mark, and measure, midot, which compares to the mystery at the heart of reality. What a week, what a time where we're confronted again with the fragility of life. Even holding the highest office in the land does not make you impervious to a virus. Hashkivenu, the prayer on page 586, and then for another 2 or 3 pages, is this prayer offered when we prepare to go to sleep with the articulating the hope and acknowledging the fallibility, the hope that we will rise again, that we will exit from the unconsciousness, the sleep of slumber, and wake up. So many ways we can wake up. So I'll just sing the refrain here, Ufros Alenu. You can look and offer the words out loud or to yourself of any of the prayers or interpretive commentaries on this prayer that invokes the image of the Sukkkot, the canopy of peace that is a model for sort of just enough protection, right? It's not the little pig's house of bricks, right? It's more like the sticks, maybe not straw, but sticks, stable enough, but also open to the stars above, open at least on one side with, a large opening for invitation of guests. So may it not be a sort of giant wall of protection that keeps us safe, but an open sukkah, shelter. Ufros aleinu Sukkat, Sukkat, Shelomecha, Ufros aleinu Sukkat, Sukkat, Shelomecha. And the blessing in this prayer, the concluding blessing, invites us to start with a prayer for protection, safety for ourselves, and then for all of Israel. And then it says, and then for Jerusalem, which right, doesn't make sense because you would think it would go in sort of expanding concentric circles, me is Jerusalem and then Israel, because Jerusalem is smaller than Israel. But Jerusalem is a symbol of peace and wholeness for all nations. And thus it comes at the end of the blessing. So you might think, and I'll sing it one more time, just the prayers of protection, of healing that we want to send far and wide. Ufros aleinu Sukkat, Sukkat, Shelomecha, Baruch atah Adonai HaPores, Sukkat Shalom Aleinu, on us. Ve'al kol Amo Yisrael Ve'al Yerushalayim. All right, so next we're invited as we transition from these blessings for the Shema to the standing devotional prayer, our offering for the evening, which is optional and begins with invoking the merit of our ancestors. I'm on page 596 and 597, but I'm actually not going to do the prayer aloud. It's just the avot at the beginning of the Amidah. And I want to hear from you, invite you to think of who are the avot and imahot, the guests that you would have join us in this virtual Sukkkot tonight.
This is Dan.
Go ahead, Dan.
And I would invite my parents, Rabbi Herman and Shoshana Herman. And why not my grandparents too? Because that's where we grew up all together. I grew up with my grandparents lived with us. So why not have everybody?
Why not have everybody? Indeed. Thank you. Dan's parents and grandparents, welcome. Anyone else?
My grandfather, Alex.
Your grandfather, Alex. So tell us a little bit about Alex.
He was a Chazan and taught us, which is now my association with everything Jewish is joyful.
Everything Jewish is joyful.
If it's Jewish, it's joyful.
If it's Jewish, it's joyful. That's a nice legacy, especially for Sukkot. Welcome, Alex. Nice. Sarah? No, you don't have to go next. Luke, have somebody you would invite to?
I was thinking of both my grandfathers, and partly just because I didn't know them very well. So it would be a good time to convene with them a little more.
Both your grandfathers, do you remember their names?
John Williams and John Bush.
Welcome, both Johns. Nice. Lauren?
Say my great grandmother, Miss Helen Catherine Caldwell, and I love just to have her in this space to share what's been missing from our family for a couple of generations.
Lauren inviting her grandmother, great grandmother Helen, to bridge some generational gaps. Anyone else on the Zoom? Alice or Terry or Ofer? Galen or Amy?
I might like to invite my older brother who has passed on. Could I do that?
Please do. What was his name?
Al, short for Alfred Turner.
Alfred Turner. Welcome, Alfred.
Thank you.
Terry writes, I would invite my biological father, his late Stephen Wise, to the Sukkkot, and his mother, Norma Wise. Thank you, Terry. Welcome, Stephen and Norma. So we do this at home when our family's all together for Sukkot. And almost always on the first day of Sukkot, the kids invite our first dog, Baloo. And I think I would invite my grandfather, Nate, my mother's father, who was a builder, and was not somebody who was necessarily connected to Jewish ritual, Jewish culture for sure. But he would enjoy Sukkot, building a sukkah, coming to our house in Philadelphia and helping build a sukkah. He would love that aspect of it, and certainly the hospitality aspect of the holiday. So I would invite my grandfather to meet. Welcome, Nate. Yeah. Very nice. Anyone else? So let's, with the power perhaps of these angels, these messengers that we're welcoming into our sukkah, let's offer a prayer for healing. There's another. Elizabeth would invite her mother, of course, Diana, and grandmother Barbara. And Galen would invite a secret friend. Cannot name. Very nice. I'm sorry about your car, Alice. Car broke down on the way up here, I guess. So you couldn't make it up here.
Yeah, I sat on 470 West for a while on the side. It was no good. It's all right though. It's just coolant. It didn't have any coolant in it. You do have to put that in there.
Well, we'll do a prayer for healing for your car as well. So if you'd like to add the name of someone you're praying for healing for, please do so either in the chat or aloud. Mish Shabera Chabotena Abraham Yitzhak Yaakov, the Imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah. May the Holy One who blessed our ancestors grant blessing and healing to Ron Solomon, Deb Stellini, President Donald Trump, Margalit Batsara, Charlie Ellis, other names to include.
Linda Fogel.
Linda Fogel. And so many who are struggling with being distraught in body or in spirit. May they be granted a refuah shlema, healing of body, including Angela Fitzgerald and Terrence Noonan, a healing of body and a healing of spirit, and may their loved ones and caregivers be granted strength. And may the nation and the world who are concerned about all those who have been taken ill with COVID-19, may we also be reassured and learn what we need to from this pandemic, and may it cost no more lives to learn those lessons. And let us say, Amen. Page 613. Moshe Shalom Bimroma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Hey Al Kol Yisrael, Hey Al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Imru, Amen. Shalom Bimrama, Oh Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Be'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Be'imru Imeru, Amen. Tara, would you be willing to pour me a glass of wine? The Kiddush for this festival eve is on page 626. And I'm going to invite us to go into the sukkah to bless the wine. And this is kind of a lengthy blessing, but we'll see if we can take the Zoom outside too. All right. Can you hear me okay? So the wine is a symbol of joy. And this is truly the holiday of fruition, of fulfillment. And it's joy that doesn't deny the fragility of life, right? That's why you do it out in the sukkah. You do it in the wake of Yom Kippur, this rehearsal for death. What's that?
Overflowing.
Perfect.
Yes, it
Beautiful.
is.
So it's not a naive joy or pretending that the struggles that we have in the world and in our lives are not real, and so it's a full joy. So with the permission of this company. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher karanu lavodato, v'romanu b'kedushato, v'kidshanu b'mitzvotav. 627. Vatiten lanu Adonai Eloheinu, Be'ava Shabbatot limnucha, u'moadim misimcha, chagim uzmanim l'sason, et yom hashabbat hazeh, ve'et yom chag hasukot hazeh, zman simchatenu, be'ava mikra kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Next page. כי אלינו קראת ואותנו קידשת לעבודתך, בשבת ומועדי קודשך, באהבה ורצון, בשמחה וששון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת, וישראל והזמנים. לחיים. And first night in the Sukkah, we do a Shechianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shechianu v'kiyamanu v'gianu lazman hazeh. And a blessing for being in the Sukkah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, le'shev ba'sukkah. We'll go right to
Shave.
le'shev. You're sitting and hanging out. That's right.
Beautifully sanded table.
That's right. Way to go, Ellen Arnold.
Yay, Ellen.
All right, so we'll go to Aleinu and Kaddish, which I think is easier to find in the morning service for me anyway. Let's try it on page 445. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula leotzer breshit, shenatan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam, nata betochenu. Next page, bend and bow. V'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. Einod, 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 Einod. 449. Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai imloch le'olam ba'ed. V'nema v'haya Adonai v'melech kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Einod, 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 Einod. So we've been invoked tonight, so many beautiful souls, many of whom are deceased. So we'll do the Mourner's Kaddish next. If you want to add an additional name to remember and to honor with the Kaddish Tom, you can do that. So we are mourning the loss of Jim Ottinger's son, David, and Susan Lehman's brother, Stuart Fox, of course, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Howard Siegman. Anyone else? Name recent deaths. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 451. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah. V'yalma divrach chirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'zman kariv, v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivorach, le'olam ulamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekutsha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimramav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach. Happy Sukkot. Thank you for helping us make a minyan and begin this holiday together. And cheers, l'chaim. The
Shabbat shalom.
by the way, there's for those and Stan, great to see you or see your name anyway and have you join us. Shabbat shalom and Chag Sameach. And the Sukkah will be up all week, so feel free to come if you're in the area or just want to make a trip up to beautiful Evergreen if your car gets fixed to just have a meal up here. You don't have to pre-reserve or anything if you're just coming up for a meal. Just walk around the building in case no one's and have a lovely and beautiful Shabbat and a week of Sukkot. Chag Sameach, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, and we'll convene again next week. We have a full day of services a week from Saturday, a learner's minyan in the morning and family services, and then a Simchat Torah celebration Saturday night next week. So feel free to join us for that with Havdalah, exactly. All right, take care. Shana Tova.
Shabbat
Shana Tova.